Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Would I Buy This Again? Or in this episode, would I buy this at all? Because to be honest, I haven't bought this before and the camera I'm going to show you is not even for sale yet. But I will review it anyway, so let's go. It is this brand new, see if you can see it like that, OM system OM-5, which will come out at the end of October 2022. When you see this, it has already come out because I can't show you this before it has. I was actually asked through a Dutch camera shop, Camera Nu, if I wanted to work with them on a video for this camera to review it. And of course, being an OM system fan, an enthusiast, I immediately said yes. And later today we will be shooting a slightly longer video for that channel reviewing this camera. And since I have a little bit time with it right now, I'm also reviewing it, or well, not really reviewing it because I've only really tested it for a very little bit so far, but I wanted to show it to you anyway. So following sort of the usual format for these videos, I will start by telling you why did I get this. So yeah, as I said, I didn't really got it myself. I was contacted if I was interested in reviewing this camera. I think they found me through my Instagram channel where I post a lot of photography. I'll put the link below the video here as well. And I also always openly share that I shoot with Olympus OM system cameras. I have been since 2009 or 2010. And I really love these cameras, so I always try to share my enthusiasm for it. So I think that's what led them to me. Yeah, I was super excited that I can review this and try this new camera. So they sent it to me yesterday, which was October 4th, and I can sort of test it for 2 days before it has to go back to OM system. And so I took it out last night for a quick first try. OM system also sent me a few lenses upon my request. I'll show you those in a bit. So as per usual, I would start telling you what do I like about this camera. But before I do, I want to show you the spec sheet that OM system shared with me and talk you through a few of the highlights for this new camera. And then come back to what I like and what I don't like about this camera so far. So let's go. So this is part of the specs that OM sent me when they sent out the OM-5. You can see here sort of the stuff that's been updated compared to the EM5 Mark III. So the sensor is upgraded to a TruePic 4. It's still 20 megapixels. Image stabilization has been improved. The weather seeding is now IP53, which is an improved version. There's Pro Capture, Starry Sky, Live ND16. You can do 50 megapixel handheld high-res shots, and I think I also saw on the sheet that you can do 80 megapixels from a tripod, which I'll be trying later today. For the video, you can do vertical video now, and you can. It has OM Lock 400, which is for the video profiles, which is really nice. You can also charge the camera via USB, and then here we have the full comparison between the OM-5 and the EM5 Mark III. So you can see the updated image processor, the improved weatherproof construction, IS compensation steps, so the handheld high-res shots and the Live ND, so all the things the EM5 Mark III didn't yet have, but that you could find, I think, probably in the EM1X, some of it also EM1 Mark III. So that's now all included in the OM-5, which is really cool. If you really want to get into detail, you can pause the video here on the previous frame and go through it yourself. I'll leave it at this for now. I also wanted to do a quick comparison of the OM-5 next to the Olympus EM5. I don't know if you can really see it like this, but from the first glance, these bodies are pretty much near identical in size and thickness and in layout as well. There are very few minor details to the new OM-5 compared to the EM5 Mark III that are different. I think the thumb grip on the back, I don't know if you can see it, I think it sticks out slightly more, giving you just a little bit more touch there compared to the EM5 Mark III, which is nice. And otherwise, I mean, also construction-wise, material-wise, it seems to be pretty much the same. Yeah, maybe if you can see on the back, the tilt screen back on the EM5 Mark III has a bit more structure to it compared. I think the material is the same, but it's just a bit of the surface that's a bit different there. Otherwise, pretty much unchanged. So most of the changes, because they're definitely there, are inside this this body. So yeah, before I continue, there were a few lenses OM System loaned me to try out with this camera. I have the 8-25 f4 Pro, which I can't show you because I'm actually filming this video clip with that. And one of the lenses I really want to try with it is the 20mm f1.4. And I'll show you that on the OM-5. Because I think this is, if you look at how compact this is, I think this really is an amazing combination. If you look at the specs of this camera and then compared or combined with this 20mm f1.4, I mean, this feels great. It's very compact and you can make amazing shots with this combination. I quickly tried out this 20mm f1.4 yesterday evening. Conditions weren't so great. I don't have the photos yet. I don't think Lightroom can even read the RAW files from the OM-5 yet. But if I get the opportunity later today or tomorrow to make some more, I'll put them in this video. But I find this really a killer combination. This is definitely one of the ways I would use the OM-5. So apart from that, I also have here the 40-150, which I think came out earlier this year, OM System, which is, I mean, it's definitely a bit bigger combination, of course, but this being a 40-150, giving you the equivalent of an 80-300 mm range on full frame. This is great. It's still quite light. I also think this is a very nice combination. And then what I also tried, and you might laugh a bit at me for doing so, but I also asked OM System to send me their 300mm f4.0. And then you're getting this combination. Now, to be honest, I've shot this combination and I will shoot it some more in the afternoon when I will be filming with camera nu. And I have to say, because this OM-5 has Pro Capture, and it did work great technically, I have to say. It was a dark evening. I was following some big birds in the sky with Pro Capture on. And the tracking was really good, way better than I expected. The Pro Capture worked really well on this. But image quality aside, for me this is something that doesn't work. The lens is just too big, too heavy. I don't even dare to just hold the body and let go of the lens because I'm afraid it will break off. So I won't do that. So this is definitely a combination that I would never use. Not even when, as I will show you. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. I have very little time to make this video, but I did want to show it to you. So I'm just sort of talking away. to get some insights on this camera. Something that I really liked is that, I'm not even sure what the model name is, the grip with the electronic shutter that is on the OM-5 Mark III fits the OM-5 as well, which is really cool. It's so, yeah, as I was saying, the bodies are really much alike, and they're so much alike that this just even uses the same grip. And I think that's awesome. I mean, if you already own this, you can just keep on using it with the OM-5. And I know that I used it a lot on my OM-5 Mark III, so I'm really happy with it. But yeah, so even then, with the grip on, I would say it gets a bit easier to combine it with a big lens like this, like the 300 f4. But still, I mean, I wouldn't dare carrying it around like that. It might hold. I don't know. I haven't talked to OM System about it and what they advise or not. But this feels like it will just tear up the body if you let go. So maybe on if you have a tripod on the lens collar, it would be fine. Or you handhold it could be fine. But yeah, this is definitely a camera I would only use with smaller lenses. Right. So specs wise, as I've just shown you, it's a bit better in ISO. I did shoot it in higher ISO. I did some of the pro capture shots in 3200 ISO. I haven't been able to watch those to review those files yet, so I can't really say how much of it you see. The image stabilization is improved, which I really love because I don't often wear a tripod around when I go out. I like to go as light as possible, and I'm usually out very early or very late, around sunrise or around sunset, which also means I do get a lot of shooting at dusk or dawn. So shooting handheld, it's really nice if you can keep the ISO low and still have sharp shots. So that's something I really like about this OM-5 as well. Something else I really like, especially for personal use, is the fact that this OM-5 doesn't just do 4K video in landscape, but it also does 4K video in portrait mode. And if you use social media, like I often do, it's really nice being able to do portrait-oriented videos and just use the files like that, because it saves a lot of trouble to rotate videos and edit it so that you can use it for stories on Instagram or stories on YouTube or wherever else you use portrait video. So that's really nice. It also has the built-in video profiles, which makes it easier to edit those videos, which is really great. Apart from that, I mean, I think in general, I think it's a great camera. I really like it. It compares very well to the OM-5 Mark III, I would say, but then gives you quite a few things extra. So ideally for a review like this, I would show you a whole bunch of images that I've made with the camera. And at the moment, I am not sure if I'll be able to. Like I said before, if I can manage to do that and incorporate those files in this video, then I will. And I might even take this bit out of the video so you won't see it. Otherwise, from what I experienced, I mean, this definitely will be no less than anything you've previously owned from Olympus. So I have a lot of faith that the quality will be great, and at least comparable to the OM-5 Mark III, and with the improved specs, most likely a bit better. So on to the things I don't really like about this camera then. So I do want to be honest. There's a few things I don't really like about this camera. For those of you that have seen my review on the OM-5 Mark III, there's two things, I think two things, if I remember correctly, that I mentioned that I don't really like, and they have been unchanged in this camera. unfortunately. The first being the build of the body. So this is quite plasticky. I am not sure what the material is called. Should have probably looked that up. But I mean, it, especially the top part, it looks plasticky, pretty much just like the OM-5, as I mentioned in that review. I'm not sure if there's a big difference between the silver and the black. I only have the silver here on a loan for the OM-5, but I have all my OMD bodies in black otherwise myself, so I can't really compare that. But I would say that the silver version here on the OM-5 looks even plasticier than the OM-5 Mark III. It could be the same as the OM-5 Mark III in silver, I don't know. That's just something I don't really like. And some of you have mentioned you've liked it better than the metal or titanium or whatever else other bodies have. Because I think some mentioned it's even stronger. And I totally don't know if that's true or not. But for me personally, I really like the build of the EM1 series. The EM1 Mark III, for example. That's my most used camera at the moment. Or even the Pen F or other that have a metal a body or partly metal body. So it might be personal, but for me, I don't know. It's a bit of a letdown on a camera like this. I mean, it's not a cheap camera, of course. I don't know what they're going to sell for yet, but they won't be so cheap, I imagine. And I think they feel slightly cheaper than they should, but that's just my opinion. It also adds a bit to the fact that when I said if I use a big lens, then I'm sort of worried it might tear off. It probably wouldn't, but you know, the feel of the body doesn't help with that experience. I do have to say it is very light. It is in fact, compared to the OM-5 Mark III, I don't know what the weight difference is, but it feels quite a bit lighter. So that's good, I guess, especially if you want to carry light. So that's for the body. And on to the next thing I don't like. I just showed you this with the external grip. Now, what's also unchanged on this OM-5 is the fact that it only has 7 contact points that just communicate to the electronic shutter on this grip, meaning that it won't have an external battery grip. It won't have that option because it simply it couldn't connect to it. So we can tell that straight away. I think that's a bummer. I really liked having the battery grip on my original OM-5. You know, it just allows for a bit more balance. You know, apart from the added battery, of course, but it adds some nice balance if you're using longer lenses, even if you're using the 75 to 300 tele lens, which is smaller than the 300 and a bit lighter. But even then, I think for the weight balance, it's quite nice. And I would imagine if you're using the 40 to 150 2.8, it really helps balancing that out. So I am not sure why OM System decided to continue on that path. I think maybe to have more of a distinction between the 1 and the 5 series, because the 1 obviously does have the battery grip. But if it were up to me, even if I don't always use it, I would love to have the ability to add a battery grip to it. So that's something else I don't really like. So that's the 2 things I still don't really like about the new 5, that are basically the same as with the OM-5 Mark III. Other than that, I mean, I don't think I have any complaints about this new OM-5. I think it's really impressive. If I could mention one thing else, it is that I have read that the OM-1, I haven't tried that camera yet, but I've read that it has an improved electronical viewfinder, a higher resolution. And from the specs I got from OM on this camera, I don't think this has a higher resolution EVF. And from The half an hour to an hour that I've used this so far, I didn't really see much of a difference compared, for example, to my EM1 Mark III. So I don't think this has increased resolution. I'll look it up and I'll cut this out if I'm wrong. But otherwise, I think if you're doing it in the OM1, then why not on the OM-5? Everyone likes better resolution in the EVF, I would say. So yeah, there you go. That would be sort of my the downsides to this camera for me. Okay, then finally on to the conclusion. Would I buy this again? Or better worded, would I buy this in the first place when it's out late October or November? I'm not sure when it will be delivered either. I think somewhere at the end of November perhaps. I would say the short answer right now is no, I would not buy this because I already own the EM5 Mark III and I also own an EM1 Mark III. So I think even though it is noticeably better than the EM5 Mark III that came before, it is not so much better for me personally that I would be spending so much money on it. I do think the OM-5 is an upgrade compared to the EM5 Mark III for video as well. I mean, just the ability to use it in portrait mode would really help me. Also, it offering the video profiles is something that I would really love. So in that sense, it's a great camera, and I would love to have it, but I wouldn't necessarily buy it at the moment. In addition to what I already have, and for me, because I'm sort of I guess you could say, all-round nature photographer. I do landscape, but I also do like close-up and some macro stuff. I also like to use tele lenses. So getting this as a main body for me is not really an option, I think, because I would want to be able to use like a 300mm or the even bigger 100 to 400mm on that main body, and I wouldn't be so comfortable doing it with this one. So if I were to use this camera, it would be with smaller lenses like the 20mm 1.4. I think this is really an awesome combination. If I'd had both the camera and the lens, that would be with me a lot of times, I guess. I also think it's great with the 4250 f4. I think it's great with the 8-25 f4 Pro lens. It will pair very well with the 60mm macro lens as well. I haven't tried it yet. I will do that later today. It will even be fine with slightly longer lenses like the 75 to 300, maybe even the 4250 2.8. Haven't tried that yet either, but I think that would be the biggest lens I would use on a camera like this. But also, I mean, with the some of the smaller primes, like the 17mm 1.8 or the 25mm 1.8, even the Panasonic ones, the 20mm pancake lens or the 15mm 1.7 out of my mind. I think those will combine great with a camera like this. Great walk around lens, to just take with you. I would take this on trips, family trips with the kids, or as a second body. So all in all, I think it's a wonderful camera. I really like the sort of the internal upgrades that this has gotten. I really hate that I have to send it back tomorrow, as well as all the great lenses that OM System lent to me. So let me conclude by saying thank you OM System, and thank you Camera Nu for getting in touch and for letting me use this awesome camera. And to everyone else, I hope this helped you a little bit, informing you on the new OM-5. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Yeah, let me know if you are purchasing it or not, and why. You can tell me in the comments. And thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye. So here's a few pictures that I made later that day when we tested the OM-5 out in the field. And I should add that although I was quite skeptical about using a long lens like the 300mm, it wasn't so bad as I imagined.